Michael!
Grace! What are you doing here?
Who is she?
I am his fiancée. And you are? His wife.
You were not supposed to come here.
I came to celebrate you. I ironed this dress 4 times. I took a bus for 6 hours.
I sold my mother's land so you could stand in that gown, and I came here with a gift wrapped in my own hands.
Is this the village woman you told me about?
Village woman. I paid every school fee that put the DR in front of his name, every single one.
Grace, you are embarrassing yourself and my son.
Mama Adaeza, you knew, and you said nothing to me.
All those years you took my gifts and ate my food and watched me suffer, and you said nothing. My son deserves better than what you are. He always did. Today is just the day he finally agreed with me.
I was going to send this. But since you are here...
What is inside that envelope, Michael?
My lawyer prepared it. Everything is explained inside. Please do not cause a scene.
You prepared divorce papers. And you brought them to your graduation party.
I needed today to be clean. A new chapter.
A new chapter. My mother's land paid for this chapter. My hunger paid for this chapter. My years paid for this chapter. Keep the papers, I will sign them. But hear me clearly, Michael. Everything I suffered to build you, God saw it. And God does not forget.
The land had no title conflict, no family dispute, no hidden debt attached to it. It was clean. It was hers. Her mother had spent 30 years protecting that small plot of earth in Enugu with the same quiet fierceness she used to protect her children. When she died, she left Grace one instruction: hold it. Whatever happens in this life, hold it. Grace held it for 3 years after her mother passed. Then she met Michael. Michael was 24 and brilliant and full of a hunger Grace had never seen up close before. He wanted to be a doctor. He had the grades, the determination, the kind of mind that professors noticed. What he did not have was money. His family had nothing left after his father's illness swallowed everything they owned. Michael came to Grace not with pride but with honesty. He told her exactly where he stood, exactly what he needed, exactly what the dream would cost. Grace listened, and then Grace made a decision that would define the next 7 years of her life. She sold the land. She did not sell it quickly or carelessly. She sat with it for 2 weeks. She visited the plot 3 times, standing at its edge the way her mother used to stand, feeling the soil beneath her feet. She prayed over it. She wept over it once, alone, at dawn, when no one could see her. And then she signed the papers and handed the money to the man she loved and told him to go and become everything he was meant to be. Michael kissed her forehead and promised her the world. The first year was hard but full of hope. Grace worked as a seamstress from a small rented room in Enugu while Michael studied in Lagos. She sent money every month: transport, textbooks, feeding allowance, exam fees. She kept a small notebook where she recorded every transfer, not out of suspicion, but out of discipline. She knew what she had given up to make those transfers possible, and she wanted to honor every naira. Michael called often in that first year. He was grateful. He was warm. He told her she was her foundation, her reason, her everything. Grace believed him completely because she had no reason not to. By the 3rd year, something had shifted in Michael that Grace could feel but not name. He was different on the phone, not cold exactly, but distant in a way that had texture to it, like a decision already made. When she visited him in Lagos that Christmas, she noticed things, the way his friends looked at her and then looked at her. at him, the way he changed the subject when she asked about their future, the way he laughed differently now, a polished laugh, practiced, belonging to a world she had not been invited into. She pushed the feeling down. She told herself she was imagining things. She went home and sewed through the night and sent him money for his final year and told herself that love was not always comfortable and that trust was a choice you made every morning. She made that choice every morning for 7 years. The graduation invitation never came. Michael sent a brief message 3 days before the ceremony. Small private event, faculty only, nothing special. He would call her after. Grace read the message twice. She looked at her small notebook. 7 years of transfers, 7 years of sacrifices recorded in her own handwriting. And something in her chest went very quiet and very certain. She ironed her best yellow dress. She packed a small gift she had been saving for this day. She bought a bus ticket to Lagos. She told herself she simply wanted to celebrate him. She told herself nothing was wrong. She lied to herself the entire 6 hours of that journey. The hall hit her like a wall of sound and light and celebration. The banner above the entrance read, Dr. Michael Okafo, in letters large enough to be seen from the street. Grace stood at the entrance holding her small wrapped gift and felt a complicated pride move through her. She had helped build the man whose name was on that banner. Whatever was happening between them, that was real, that was hers. Then she saw him. Michael was standing near the center of the room in his graduation gown, laughing with a group of colleagues. Beside him stood a woman in a red fitted dress, beautiful, polished, her hand resting on Michael's arm with the easy confidence of a woman who belongs exactly where she's standing. Grace watched the way Michael leaned toward her when she spoke, the way he smiled at her, the way his entire body angled in her direction like a compass finding north. Grace crossed the room. What followed happened fast and slow at the same time, the way devastating things always do. The introduction. The word fiancé landing like something physical. Grace's own voice saying his wife, and watching the hall go silent around that word. Michael's face cycling through surprise and irritation, and a cold resolve that told Grace he had prepared for this possibility and had chosen his position already. And then the envelope. He pulled it from inside his gown like he had been carrying it all day, because he had. His lawyer had prepared it. Everything was explained inside. He pushed it into her hands in front of 200 people and told her not to cause a scene, as though she was the one who had done something wrong in this room. Grace opened the envelope. She read the first page, divorce papers, clean, already signed. She looked up at him. She looked at his mother, materializing from the crowd with that smile Grace had always sensed underneath Mrs. Adaize's posite surface, the one that said, I always knew this day would come. She looked at the woman in the red dress, watching her with a curiosity that had no malice in it, just the unsettling calm of someone who has already won. Grace set her small wrapped gift on the table beside her, carefully, deliberately, like it was the last gentle thing she would do in this room. She told him God saw everything she had suffered to build him. She told him God does not forget. Then she turned and walked through the crowd and did not look back, and the door closed behind her, and she stood on the street outside in her ironed yellow dress, holding divorce papers in the city where the man she had built had just unmade her in front of everyone. She stood there for a long time. The Lagos evening moved around her. Traffic, voices, the ordinary noise of a city that did not know or care what had just happened inside that hall. Then Grace straightened her back. She picked up her bag. She walked to the bus station. She had work to do. The years that followed were not easy. Let no one tell you that a good ending erases the hard middle. Grace struggled. There were months in Port Harcourt. She had moved. She needed distance. She needed to breathe air that did not carry his name. when the rent felt impossible and the others dried up and she sat alone and wondered if she had been a fool. There were nights she took out her mother's old photograph and spoke to it like a conversation and asked questions she knew would not be answered before morning. But Grace had something Michael and his mother had not calculated when they handed her those papers in that hall. She had 7 years of discipline, 7 years of stretching nothing into something, 7 years of knowing exactly how to survive on very little and build on even less. That was not weakness. That was a skill. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, she began to use it. She started a tailoring school from her sitting room. 3 students became 10. 10 became 30. She registered a business. She secured a small government grant for women entrepreneurs. She moved into a proper space. She hired teachers. She expanded into fabrics and fashion design. And within 4 years, Gracious Stitch Academy had trained over 400 women and won a state award for women empowerment that put Grace's photograph in 3 newspapers and 1 national magazine. She was not loud about what she had built, but she was solid in the way that only people who have built from absolute nothing ever truly become solid. Michael's collapse came quietly, then completely. He married Chiamaka 6 months after the divorce. For 2 years, it looked like he had made the right choice. Then the cracks appeared. Chiamaka had her own ambitions, her own expectations, her own understanding of what a marriage owed her. Arguments became silences, became a separation that Lagos society noticed and whispered about. Chiamaka left and took what the law allowed and moved on without looking back. Mrs. Adeze fell ill within the year. The medical bills were heavy. Michael carried them alone because his pride had cost him every relationship that might have helped him carry anything. He was a doctor with a good salary and an empty house and a mother in a hospital bed and a growing understanding, quiet and merciless, of exactly what he had handed back to Grace in that envelope. He found her number through someone who knew someone. He stared at it for 2 weeks before he called. Grace was in her office in the Enugu branch of Gracious Stitch Academy. She had come home, a full circle she had never planned but somehow always needed, when the call came. She saw the name. She sat with it for 3 rings, then she answered. He asked if he could see her. She told him she had 30 minutes between appointments. He could come to the academy. He came. He walked through the doors and stood in the reception area and looked around at what she had built, and something moved across his face that Grace watched without expression. She came out to meet him. She was calm. She shook his hand. She led him to a small meeting room. She offered him water. She sat across from him and waited. Michael talked. He explained things. His mother's illness, the divorce, the loneliness, the regret, and here his voice broke, genuinely, the regret that had followed him like a shadow since the night he handed her that envelope in a crowded hall in Lagos. Grace listened to all of it without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a moment.
Then she said, "Michael, I want you to look around this room. Every woman being trained in this building is here because someone believed they were worth investing in. I believed that about myself the night I walked out of that hall alone, and I built everything you are looking at from that belief." She paused. She said, "I do not hate you. I stopped carrying that a long time ago because it was too heavy and I had too much to build. But I cannot give you what you came here looking for. What you handed back to me in that envelope did not sit and wait for you. It grew into something else, into something you cannot return to." Michael looked at her, And in that look, in the full weight of understanding that settled across his face, was every consequence he had earned. Not delivered with anger, not celebrated, simply present, real, immovable. Grace stood. She extended her hand. She said, "I hope your mother recovers. I genuinely mean that." She shook her hand. She walked him to the door. She watched him cross the car park and get into his car and drive away. Then she went back inside. 30 women were waiting for her. She straightened her jacket. She walked into the room, and the smile that came to her face when she saw them, open, full, completely her own, was the most Sikhs and her mother's land to earn it. And it was worth every single thing she had paid. Grace walked away with nothing but her dignity and built everything from it. But here is the question. Was she wrong to sell that land in the first place? Or was Michael wrong to take everything she gave and still walk away? Drop your answer in the comments. We want to hear what you think. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs it today. And drop a comment. We want to hear from you. God bless you.